Now that the dust has settled a little bit on the college football playoff, I wanted to come on here and talk about kind of what I thought about going into the game and ultimately the game itself. So before I do that, I want to say that I hate Michigan. I hate Jim Harbaugh. I don't care if Big Ten teams win. I rather them not. I understand that it makes the Big Ten look better and all that. I don't. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not somebody that cares about that. Everybody is always like, "Oh, Noah, if the Big Ten wins, like that's great." I'm like, I don't care. I want Penn State to win, and that's it. Um, so with that being said, some of the things that I thought about going into this game were this. I thought Michigan was the better team. Um, I think that Washington probably had a tougher schedule and a tougher route of getting to the national championship. Um, One of the things that I thought, and I know that I'm not the only one that thought this, was I thought that Washington's passing game was going to be what kept them in this. It's kind of what helped them out all year. Um, I don't think Michigan faced any quarterbacks nearly as good as Michael Penix up until this game. They faced Tua's younger brother. They at Maryland, they faced Drew Allar, not good, and they faced Kyle McCord, also really not good, and then Jalen Milroe. Milroe's a good athlete, like crazy athlete, but from a quarterback standpoint, he's still really raw, and I don't think that um, he's quite there yet. Um, I thought Michigan was going to try and run the football all over the place, and kind of ended up being what happened. Um, I wasn't sure how Washington's defensive line was going to hold up over 4 quarters against just a brutally good Michigan O-line, who likes to get downhill, run it down your throat. Um, as far as Washington goes, like I said, I thought their passing game was gonna be what kept them in this. Penix looked really good against Texas, was throwing dimes all over the field. Um, it just depended on if he was able to carry it over. And then another thing I wondered was just how good this defense was. I said earlier um, about how good Michigan's defense was. They obviously had the numbers to kind of back it up, but like I said, they didn't face a quarterback nearly as good as Penix up until the other night. Um, so during the game, that first quarter was really brutal for Washington. Um, Michigan pretty much just ran it right down their throat. Donovan Edwards with 2 long runs. Um, it looked like Michigan was just going to roll. Um, Second quarter comes along. Washington does end up getting some stops, um, scoring some points. Going into the half, I want to say it was 17-10, and Washington had all the momentum. I felt really good about them as far as sort of making a comeback in that second half. Um, but once the second half started, um, Penix threw an interception, and that pretty much that didn't seal the deal necessarily. A lot of ball left, but definitely did not feel great about Washington's chances after that. I think they did end up holding Michigan to a field goal there, but uh, either way, Michigan still got points out of that. I thought Michigan did a great job on defense as far as just getting pressure on Penix. They had 1 sack, I think, but they were just doing a great job of getting him out of his rhythm, getting him off balance, making him make off-platform throws. And Washington had a bunch of chances to execute on some really big plays, and because of that defense and getting pressure on him, they forced some really bad throws and some throws that normally he would make, right? They had receivers open 20, 30 yards down the field, and he was overthrowing them, and guys weren't able to make adjustments to some of these passes that he was making. Um, but yeah, I thought Michigan did a great job of that. Third quarter, Washington was still able to keep it close, and then fourth quarter comes along, and Michigan just started to basically flex their muscles, and there wasn't a whole lot that Washington could have done at that point. I mean, Penix was he got sacked one time, like I said, but I mean, he was banged up. It looked like he could barely move at one point. So, yeah, Michigan, that defense is obviously legit. Um, they I think they gave up what, like 17, 14 points. It was 13 points actually. But yeah, they were good. The numbers backed it up. I don't think they gave up like 20 points to a team all season, which is just absurd. Um, they were definitely the better team. I think they were the best team all season, but I did want to see them actually beat some some good teams. I don't think Penn State was a challenge for them. I don't really think Ohio State was a challenge for them. Um, I thought Alabama was good. Obviously, we saw a great semifinal game going into overtime, but that game, I guess it could have gone either way. I mean, if Alabama doesn't have those issues snapping the football, then I think they could have won that game, but they couldn't put it together, and Michigan pulled it off. But yeah, I think Michigan was the best team this season. Jim Harbaugh rides off into the sunset. I don't know where he ends up from here. He's got a lot of options. There's a lot of NFL teams that I'm sure that would love to have Jim Harbaugh. Um, I mean, hell, he could stay and just continue to put together great Michigan teams and continue to battle for national championships. But I think over the past couple of years, since we've heard so many rumors about him potentially going to the NFL, and now that he finally has a national championship, I think that that's ultimately what happens. I don't know where, um, but with all the coaching jobs that just opened up over these last couple days, um, I expect him to be interviewing for a lot of those. JJ McCarthy, some people have him in the first round. Um, I don't see it. Um, he didn't really have to do a whole lot the entire year with this team. And for I get it, you're the head coach, you're gonna hype up your guy, say he's the best quarterback in college football, but like, let's take a chill pill here. Um, I don't even know he was the third best quarterback in the college football playoff. Um, I I don't know. I don't see it. He didn't have to make a ton of plays throughout this season. That Michigan team was really good. They were able to rely on their run game a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And obviously, the game that stands out is Penn State, where they didn't have to throw the football in the second half. And then we saw in the championship, he completed 10 passes. Like, he's not the guy that won them these games. That Michigan team was complete on every level, right? O line, D line, they were dominant. Offense, defense as a whole. I mean, they could run the ball at will. Their defense was so legit, and he just didn't have to do a whole lot. So I think it'll be really interesting to see where he goes. Um, but yeah, I just don't see it as a first round talent. I think what we see happen a lot is teams start to feel pressure if they didn't have a quarterback, and maybe a team ends up reaching. But I think we got to leave it up for the combine and things like that, and see kind of how that plays out. But I don't see him as a first round guy. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens these next couple weeks and this off season with all the coaching moves and whatnot. I do think Harbaugh ends up in the NFL, like I said, but who knows? Anything can happen. I mean, we've been hearing these rumors for the past 2, 3 years, and he's just kept coming back to Michigan. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. That's all I got for now. Peace.